Hey, everybody. Welcome to ClearPath Leadercast. It is Thursday. It is 5 Eastern. It is time for ClearPath Leadercast. Glad you all could join us. As always, we are coming at you live through StreamYard, going both to our YouTube channel as well as to our group, ClearPath Leaders Forum on Facebook. In any place, you can drop your comments in as we go through today. I can answer any questions that you have. If you've turned on StreamYard for those platforms, I'll be able to see your name. Otherwise, I'll just be able to see your comments. So forgive me if I don't address you by name as we go through. But happy to be here today. My name is Craig Anderson. I am the president and founder of ClearPath Coaching and Consulting. I started this business about 3 years ago. My background is working in Fortune 500 companies. I spent most of my career in growing leadership roles in those organizations. I really learned a lot working for those companies. I learned about how to do planning to make your business run more successful, how to have that focus on the future, how to have the right people, strategies, and planning and processes documented is what makes those companies successful. And that's what was important to me, because here's the dirty little secret about my career. I have a degree in English. I am not your traditional MBA guy. Didn't really have that business background as I grew into my corporate career. So it was really imperative for me to pay a lot of attention to really start to understand how those businesses did the things that they did, so I could do the things I needed to do to make both myself successful, my team successful, and the company successful. So I totally understand those of you out there who have found yourselves kind of the accidental executive. It's not what I set out to do. Heck, I thought I was going to be an English teacher, but you became an executive. And the challenge I think a lot of us have who come up that way through the corporate system is we always deal with some imposter syndrome. We're always not sure, if we really should have the seat at the table or where are we bringing the value. And it took me some time to figure that out. Took some coaching, took some real introspection, and for me to realize the amazing amount of value I did bring to the table as I was sitting through these various meetings and through, the discussions we had roles leading sales teams, operations teams, starting businesses, leading divisions, took all those lessons that I accumulated over the years and had an opportunity to spin out a small business from a larger company as a wholly owned affiliate, and really had some great success. Took a business that was as a division doing about $500,000 in revenue, grew that to $5 million revenue in 3 years, had 25 people to something like 70 people in a large call center environment where we were not only growing successfully and taking care of our customers, but we were also named a great place to work in the city of Indianapolis where we're based. So it had a lot of success, but a lot of that was taking those corporate lessons and scaling them down to make the small business successful. One of the things that I've really been focused on all through this week in all of our content across all of our platforms is talking about new leaders and how we fail new leaders as organizations. One of the things that I did notice through a lot of my time is we kind of look at people and we say, wow, you're a high performer. You're an individual contributor. This is really bad. I saw it a lot in sales, but saw it in other places as well. What we're going to do is we're going to make you a leader. We're going to give you leadership roles and leadership responsibilities, thinking that we're doing a great thing, that if you can be a great individual contributor, you can be a great leader. And I'm not here to tell you that leaders are born leaders and there's natural leaders. What I will tell you is you can build those skills, you can develop those talents in people and bring those out in people. But we don't do a great job of that in corporate America. And even for you small business owners who've kind of grown up and built a great small business, now you're successful. But how do you become a leader in those systems? And that's where I think we really have let people down. We don't identify our leaders early enough. So we're going to talk about three things today. We're going to talk about why we talk about one challenge around training and development of our leaders, lack of guidance for our leaders, and also within the new leaders themselves, some challenges that they have in these roles. So the first thing I want to talk about today is why leaders fail due to a lack of training and development. We talk about these things, but are we really putting those high potential leaders we see in the organization before they're really able to step in a role, or we have that formal role for them? How are we preparing them for leadership? What are we doing to provide them with training programs? What are we giving them to maybe have opportunities to lead in small teams? Where are we providing them external leadership training to come in and help them understand, hey, as I grow in my career, these are the things I'm going to need to be as leader? Because one of the toughest things in that first leadership role, especially if you're promoted from within your peers, is now you have these people who you used to be, peers with, who you hung out with, who you complained about the boss with, all those things. And suddenly now you find yourself in a role over those people. And it's a difficult transition. And if we haven't provided those potential and high potential leaders with the training they need to be successful, guess what? They're going to struggle greatly to be successful as they grow in their career. So thing one that I would really love to see people do in small business, medium-sized business, corporate businesses, is really start to institute training programs, not just for your high potential leaders, but also people who think they have the capacity to be leaders. Give them those opportunities to see. One, those people you haven't identified as high potential may surprise you and show that they do have a leadership potential perhaps you're not seeing because of your own kind of view of the world, your own biases. You don't necessarily see what they can do. So open those up. Give people the opportunities and lunch and learns, more formal programs, half-day programs. Give them those opportunities to learn and to grow. One of the things we did at our small business is we had lunch and learns where people from our call center could come in and learn some of those management skills. So when they had, we do book clubs, we do training, and they would be prepared if they wanted to step into those roles and they understood more fully what those roles would be. A lot of times people say, well, I want a leadership role. Well, why do you want that? Well, because leaders make more money. If that's the reason you want to be in a leadership role, I guess that's fine. But let me tell you, the frustrations and the challenges that come along with that and the responsibilities are commensurate with any increase in pay you're going to see. And it can create a lot higher levels of stress for you. And if it's really not the right fit for you, you're making more money, but you're going to be pretty miserable. So one, let's start to put those informal and more formal training and leadership opportunities in place for our new leaders so that they are well positioned to take on that first leadership role. So that's number one. Number two way that we fail leaders is we don't put enough programs in place to support them in those leadership roles. We promote them into those leadership roles and we say, well, you were successful here. You're going to be successful here. Have at it. Do a great job. Vaya con Dios. Go with God, my son. And that's not the way we move new leaders up into the organization. When we put leaders into these roles, we need to put the support structures around them to help them start to grow. If you're really on your A game with this, you're doing two things. One, you're creating mentor programs in your company, if you're big enough to have that. And you're going to have mentors from perhaps other areas of the company who can come in and mentor those new leaders, help them and answer the questions they have, show them and help them benefit from your wisdom of many years being in a leadership role. That is how we can help support these new leaders, give them that environment where they can answer questions, where they can get that guidance from somebody who's not going to rate their performance review, right? Who they don't have to worry about disappointing. Someone who can come in and really provide them with that great perspective. Mentoring is a huge opportunity. I know a local company here has a great mentoring program for their people who want to get into leadership roles and are in leadership roles. And it's a great opportunity for them to find within themselves the things they may not see, to help them develop those skills, to answer those questions. Because sometimes when you're in these leadership roles, there's things that come up and you think, oh my gosh, this has never happened to anyone before. How am I supposed to deal with this thing that's never happened to anyone else before? Chances are almost everything you're going to encounter has happened to someone before. It's just new to you. So where we can provide you with those opportunities for a mentor to come alongside you and say, hey, I know kind of what's going on here. Let me give you the benefit of what my experience was to help you make decisions about how you want to move forward with this. So mentoring really comes in and provides that more direct guidance to get you through those difficult situations, to help you make better decisions. So that's one piece that we can look at. Another piece, and if you look at our blog this week, we dropped a link. We talk all about this stuff, and we drop a link to this, is the increasing importance of managers and leaders to take on a coaching component to their role as your manager or leader. Managers or leaders aren't there just to tell you what to do, to give you your goals and set you free to go achieve them or micromanage you as you try to achieve them. What we want our managers and our leaders to do is to start to learn how to coach, start to learn those skills. So one, large companies, mid-sized companies, small businesses, you're going to have to provide training to your leaders and managers so they know how to coach effectively. Mentoring is one thing. Mentoring is kind of giving you direction, telling you what to do. Coaching is helping you to develop so that you can start making decisions and processing decisions. It's that whole, give a man a fish and he'll eat that day, teach a man to fish and he'll eat forever. The coaching role is the ability to coach them and show them how to process, how to make these decisions, how to deal with kind of their inner struggles as they're going through things. As I talked about earlier in the introduction, I was coming from this English degree background. I had no formal training in leadership. I had to figure it out as I went. It's a painful, torturous process to do it that way. You can get there that way, but you're going to run into a lot of obstacles as you go through, and it's a difficult way to get there. If your boss is a great coach, they can help you, and you can go to them and say, here's what I'm struggling with. They're not going to give you the answer. I mean, they can give you the answer, but if they show you how to think through it, how to deal with competing priorities, how to deal with personality issues, how to deal with conflict, they can help you figure out what's going on with you so that you can more effectively do that. If you have a boss who's just incapable of that, one thing you may do is just see, where can I bring a coach in for myself to help me out, to help me grow? It's an investment, but think about that investment in terms of, hey, if I have a bonus structure in my company and I can max out that bonus structure, do I pay for that coaching? So there's a lot of good ways you can get that if you're not getting it internally. But companies and organizations, it's incumbent upon you to start providing that coaching so that your leaders know how to do that coaching and they can then help your next leaders. The problem we have by this lack of training, lack of development, lack of mentors, lack of coaches for our leaders is we're really creating generational leadership problems in our companies and in our organizations. If somebody was kind of thrown to the wolves and had to figure it all out, and they think, well, hey, these people I'm hiring, I'm going to throw them to the wolves and let them figure it out because that's how I did it. What you're doing is you're creating this generational leadership problem where now you just have people who don't really know how to lead effectively and how to bring up leaders taking your next class of leaders. And that just rises up the ranks of your organization if you're not providing that kind of assistance and that kind of development for leaders across all levels. We're talking here about new leaders, but trust me, leadership problems exist across organizations and throughout up and down organizations. Leadership is not something, it's not, you're either good at or you're not. It's like anything. You have to learn how to do it. You have to have discipline. You have to have skill. You have to learn how to grow. And we have to develop that in our leaders because the world needs better leaders. Your company definitely needs better leaders, but the world needs leaders. And this generation needs the training as we get this new generation of leaders. And so we can really start making significant steps in growing our business, because when we have great leadership and a great product, we're going to succeed faster. So that's why those two things are important. Now, the last piece I want to talk about today is really addressing leaders, the new leaders themselves. One of the reasons that new leaders fail is due to fear, due to their own fear. Because let's face it, I was just promoted into this job. They must think I can do the job. So if I start asking a bunch of questions, they're going to start thinking I'm not good enough for the job and I'm too, I just can't measure up. So a lot of times new leaders are afraid to ask these questions and ask their boss, how do I handle this situation? I was really struggling with something one time with a boss, and I said, with an issue with my team. And I went to my boss and said, I'm not sure what to do about this. He goes, I trust you to make the right decision. I'm sure he felt very empowering to me in that, but let me tell you, I felt kind of lost. And I wasn't going to say, well, you're right. I guess I can figure it out myself. And off I went to do what I did. And that's not leadership. That's not helping your leaders develop. That's just kind of tossing it over. That's that same thought. Well, no one told me how to do it. So by God, I'm not going to tell these punks how to do it. So that's not what we want. So you're going to have to take the step and take the risk as the new leader and kind of say, I'm struggling here. I could really use some assistance. It doesn't mean you can't do the job. It doesn't mean you don't have the potential to do the job. What it means is you need some help, and it's okay to need some help in organizations. Everybody ultimately wants to succeed, and in a healthy, thriving organization at all levels of management, they want to help their leaders succeed because it helps the team succeed and it helps the company succeed. I won't say there's no such thing as stupid questions. So sometimes there are, but there usually aren't around leadership issues. When you're going through leadership, you're dealing with people. People are messy. These things are difficult, and you really need to, if you're not getting that support and the coaching and mentoring, you need to work out to find it yourself. And again, if you can't find it yourself, invest in yourself, get a coach to come in and help you get some of these decisions made so that you can grow your career and you can start ascending to leadership and start making that change to that generational problem that I talked about before. So that's really it. One thing that will help you on your leadership journey is to take the core values index. There's a scroll across the bottom. If you go to clearpathcoaches.com/CVI, you can take the core values index. The core values index is a great assessment, has like 95% repeatability whenever you take it over the course of your life. And what it really talks about is your intuitive energy around what drives you, which kind of energy that helps you move forward when you make decisions and how you make decisions and how you take action and what you value you bring to the table. Breaks it down. You come down into 4 quadrants. You usually have 2 higher and 2 lower. And you'll get, if you take this assessment at clearpathcoaches.com/CVI, you'll get the assessment. It takes like 10 or 15 minutes. It's really a pretty straightforward word pairing exercise. You're going to get a really comprehensive report. You're going to get a video that gives you some explanation to help you understand your results. And if you'd like to talk to me more about it, you can just hit me up wherever you're seeing this video through a direct message, or hit me up at craig@clearpathcoaches.com. We can talk through your results a little bit there too. So it is possible for new leaders to be incredibly successful at a much higher rate than we see them successful today. Whether you're a small business owner, whether you're a new executive, becoming a leader is a skill that you can grow just like all the other skills that you have. So I'd really encourage you to think about that. Think about what we talked about today. Take the CVI, and we will see you back here next Thursday. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Try and keep these to right around 15 minutes, and we're a little bit over today. Thanks, Melissa, for the high five. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.